Now that we've learned all of los números and how to tell time, we can now move on to its relative, el calendario. We're going to start with some basic vocabulary and then work our way into the days of the week, the months, and then how to say words like today, yesterday, tomorrow, and then we'll wrap the lesson up with how to say and write dates in Spanish. So here's everything you need to know about the Spanish calendar. Here are your first vocabulary words. Día. Although día ends with an a, it's masculine. El día. La semana. El fin de semana. El mes. El año. Now let's go over los días de la semana. You know all these words except maybe de. Can you guess what this means? The days of the week. Days of the week are always masculine, so they'll all use the article el. Unlike English, they're also not capitalized. Lunes, martes, miércoles. Don't forget that accent over the e means that that's where the stress falls. So it's not miércoles or miércoles, it's miércoles. Miércoles. Jueves, viernes, sábado, domingo. Alright, so now you already know some basic vocabulary and los días de la semana. So now we're going to move over to los meses del año. The months of the year. A useful tip to help you remember each of these Spanish months is that each one starts with the exact same letter as in English except for January. January is enero. But then we have febrero, marzo, abril, mayo, junio, julio, agosto, septiembre, octubre, noviembre, diciembre. So you can see that most of these are pretty close to what they are in English. Here are some final palabras related to los días de la semana. Hoy. Don't forget that the H is silent. It's not hoy, it's hoy. Ayer. Antier. Mañana. I know you might be thinking, wait, but mañana means morning. And you're right. The way to tell the difference between the two, whether it means morning or tomorrow, is mañana with no article, so just mañana, means tomorrow. La mañana means the morning. Alright, so now you know the days, months, and some specific time frame vocabulary. So let's go ahead and get into how to say specific días en el calendario. To ask what today's day is, you'll say, ¿Cuál es la fecha de hoy? La fecha is the date. Here's how you could respond to that question. In English, the most common response would be, today is April 16th, but you could also say, today is the 16th of April. This version is the closest to how it works in Spanish, because in Spanish, the day always comes before the month. Hoy es el 16 de agosto. Here's the formula for saying the day in Spanish. El plus whatever the day is, plus de, plus whatever the month is. And then, if you want to say what the year is, you'll also add de, and then the year. But just like in English, when the date you're talking about is in this current year, it's pretty common to not even say the year. But here's another example with the year included. Hoy es el 2 de enero de 2021. So I want to point out that with Spanish dates, you just use regular numbers. You wouldn't say, hoy es el segundo de enero, which would literally be, today is the 2nd of January. You'd say, hoy es el 2 de enero. The first of the month is the only time that you won't use the number. You won't say, hoy es el 1 de enero. You'll say, primero. Hoy es el primero de enero. To wrap up our lesson, we're going to quickly learn how to write the date in Spanish. The biggest thing to know is that even when you write the date, the day still comes before the month. Here's the formula for writing the date with numbers in Spanish. You might also see dates written with the year first, but the important thing to remember is that the day is still coming before the month. Sometimes this will be obvious when the date is something like the 26th of February. Then you can obviously see that the first number is the day because there aren't 26 months. But the 5th of February might be confusing because it could look like it's the 2nd of May. This is also how dates are written in the UK, so this is just good to know. Just like in English, you can leave the 0 off when it's a 1-digit day or month. You can also often leave off the first 2 digits of the year. The very last thing to know is that you might see dates with slashes, dashes, or periods, but these are all the same. And the day will still always come before the month. So you now know everything you need to know about el calendario en español. Drop a comment if you have any questions, and please give this video a like to let me know if I was able to help you learn anything. Gracias por estar aquí. Hasta la próxima.